available sustainable financing options for the youth-preferred programs and projects in line with national priorities. I say this because there is need to unleash and nurture young Tanzanian talent. Third, with all the mineral endowments that our country has, I think we need to raise the level of mining profitability through better management of mineral wealth, especially strategic and rare earth elements. We should not only attract and export raw materials, but also add value domestically. Research institutions ought to identify economic growth niches and strategies to harness mining sector opportunities which can be exploited to propel Tanzania to an upper income country status by 2050. Fourth, I think is research to inform resolution of land use conflicts sustainably. And the conflicts include the needs of man versus wildlife, the needs of smallholder farmers versus pastoralists, the needs of smallholder farmers and pastoralists versus conserved areas and forests, as well as urban settlements versus farmlands, and beaches versus urban settlements. Fifth, I think is research aiming at transforming semi-arid regions of Tanzania into opportunities or new growth areas. We have hitherto been brought to believe that semi-arid areas are unproductive or wasteland. However, experiences from other parts of the world like Israel, UAE, and the US prove beyond doubt that they have the potential to be very productive by cultivation of new crops other than the traditional crops grown in semi-arid areas and deserts. But this will occur if substantive research is undertaken. Research geared towards agricultural development by tapping underground water aquifers and rainwater harvesting, among others, could usher in agricultural transformation in the so-called arid regions. Besides, in the case of Tanzania, some of the semi-arid regions like Dodoma, Singida, Shinyanga, and the like also hold substantial mineral wealth, including strategic minerals and rare earth elements, which form the basis of high-tech industries. Mineral exploration and exploitation of such resources, including mineral beneficiation, could turn these areas into new growth poles. Transformation of the so-called marginal land has also the potential to help reduce conflicts around land use. Furthermore, rainwater harvesting in these areas can increase their potential for modern livestock farming. Lastly, as I observe our society today, I realize that there has evolved a culture that is not conducive to rapid development, and I see this in a number of areas. They include an entrenched behavior of not valuing time as an important resource. As such, lack of punctuality at workplaces, meetings, and other occasions is very common. Dishonesty and unfaithfulness at workplaces continues to persist. Hard work and diligence have been eroded and are being replaced by unscrupulous means to earn a living. A large number of our youth in urban areas are idle and spend most of their time hanging out, vijiweni, or gambling. Furthermore, there are widespread beliefs that, irrespective of one's qualifications and experience, one cannot secure a job in the formal sector unless you know someone influential. Employment on merit is considered to be rare. It is also worrisome that a growing number of our young men are entering into marital relationships with older women, wanaitwa mashangazi, who are better off, and they do this as an easy way to make ends meet. There is also an entrenched habit of discarding empty bottles or plastics and other waste materials irresponsibly, even in places where there are designated dustbins, and this is in spite of mass education and calls from environmentalists and political leaders to stop that behavior. Similarly, careless burning of grassland and forests on the pretext of giving room for fresh animal grazing land or clearance of farmland continues unabated. Collaborative and cooperative behavior are now seemingly less preferred to individualistic behavior. And this is unlike the Oriental culture, which promotes the proper thy neighbor philosophy. There is also an apparent preference to luxurious spending and less on savings. And for example, our people tend to contribute generously to ceremonies, be it weddings, religious festivals, and funerals, but not so much on shouldering educational costs of children from low-income families or medical expenses. Self-help schemes and local contributions to community development projects seem to have lost tempo on the assumption that the government will always come in, and the dependency syndrome, which remains with us, with a good number of our people continuing to depend on handouts and grants from relatively better off family relatives or friends. As if these are not enough, witchcraft and violence against women, children, the elderly, and people with disabilities, like the albinos, are still prevalent. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my humble view that we, as a country, need a cultural revolution to reverse such behaviors and practices. And this must be underpinned by down-to-earth socio-economic research and strategies. It is my honest request to ESRF and other think tanks in our country to focus on such areas going forward in order to inform our collective endeavors to engineer a radical shift from such practices for a better and prosperous Tanzania. Distinguished participants, with these remarks, it is my singular honor and privilege to declare, on behalf of Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, that the commemoration of the ESRF's 30th anniversary and its 8th National Conference is now officially opened. I thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency.